everyone, and welcome to Heroes of the Faith. Today, we'll be talking about politics and geography of Palestine. And so, let's go ahead and get started. Today, the goal is to kind of take a brief understanding of how the geography and the politics of Palestine basically shapes our understanding of the culture and the setting for the New Testament. And so that's what the goal is going to be today, to kind of understand that. So this video shouldn't be that long because it's mostly maps and things like that. But just wanted to go ahead and give you a brief kind of understanding of this setting of the Palestinian culture and geography. If you look at the objectives, so we're going to, if you haven't completed the A&E worksheet, please do so. And then the goal for today, though, is to understand basically the Palestinian locations as they're important. We're going to label those maps. The maps are provided for you. I did put a worksheet in there so you can label them for yourself, but you can always take a quick snapshot for those of you who are at home to have those maps. And then after that, I want you to take a note of the understanding that the Asia, Europe, and Africa, all three of those continents are merged around Palestine. So during this particular time, this was the center of the world. I'm sure there were people in North America, and some had traveled off to South America over time. But these empires, or the New Testament itself, Palestine seems to be the center of the world at this time. So, yeah, we just wanted to make that note today as we go through this. And then lastly, we're going to observe the many critical roads and trade routes during this time and how they all led to Palestine. So it's interesting how the goal, I guess, is to show how God centers Palestine or Judea as the center of it all. So let's go ahead and get going. All right, politics and geography of the Palestine and Roman Empire. All right, first off, let's talk about wars. Now, if you have time, you can do this, but if you think about wars and land dispute, create a list of wars that have been fought over land disputes. Since you're not in class, we won't have to, you won't have to do this with a group or anything like that. But if you think about some wars, that were disputed over land disputes, what would they be? We could talk about certain wars such as America, the Civil War. That was over some particular land. That wasn't the main issue, but that was over a particular land. We can talk about the Revolutionary War and how the British wanted to still have rule over us and as a land. We can go back to even the World War, in a way, even though that was more about politics more than land, but the German army wanted to basically take over most of Europe. So, what area of the world seems to be in the most conflict today? Probably the Middle East. You would probably say that. In there, you can even say, unfortunately, some people may even look at us and say we're in conflict right now, our country. So, what kind of land resources are being fought over? I would more likely probably say gold, land itself. I know we need oil. Oil is a big thing because we're slacking in that. And how does geography play a part in all this? Well, basically, the more land a person has, or more resources a person has, the more power they have. And so, even still today, the idea of more land equals more power is still among us. So, let's talk about how this affected the time period of the Palestinian people. So here's a map of the Roman Empire. As you can see, it spreads pretty much into Upper Africa, the southern part of Europe, and into Asia Minor and everything. And so, and you see particular cities and places that are important that we see throughout the New Testament. We have, first off, we go over to where it says Judea right here. if you can see that, Judea. This area is basically where Jerusalem is, and things of that nature. We have the Damascus. We have some of the seas, and I'll forgive the bell just went off. We have some. We have the Sea of Galilee, where and this is in the Jordan River. Those are famous seas that are talked about in the Bible. And then we have some of the places that we'll get to when we get to the book of Acts. We have Antioch, and we have Galatia, as you're familiar with the book of Galatians. We'll talk about uh, Paul's adventures to Athens and things like that. And then, of course, we have Rome right here. And as you can see, all these particular cities or places are quite important to the Roman Empire. But it's interesting. All of it started here. All of the gospel message that is being spoken about in the New Testament starts in this area and begins to spread through the whole Roman Empire. So it's interesting too that all three of these continents. Oh, sorry about that. All three of these continents, right here, Asia over here, Africa, and Europe. It seems that this area right here is the center of it all. Sort of is the gateway. You couldn't even trade in particular areas unless you had to go through here. So if somebody from here, I mean, of course they can go south of here if they wanted to, or north of it. But usually the easiest way was to go through Palestine. So that's why this place right here was so sought out for. And a lot of people, Jerusalem being the center of it and everything, that nation, a lot of individuals, wanted this area. That's why it was good. Plus, it was good for growing things and things of that nature. And anyway, even today, a lot of people want this area because of it, it seems to be the center of everything. Here's a closer map, to give you an understanding of what I'm talking about. Excuse me. We have this area of the Palestine. We have Judea, and we have all the major cities here that sort of connect everything. Sort of connect everything. The Great Sea right here, and all. And again, this area is known for it's very fertile. Basically, it was good for crops. There's a sea here, so that's good for fishing. Travel routes, again, it was easier to get from one continent to the other because you had to go through this area. And so to conquer this area was key because it allowed people to travel to and fro. If they didn't have access to this area, they had to go through too many political holes and this and that. So the smartest thing to do was just take over this area. And so this is why everybody wanted this particular place, this particular land. And so that's why the Jews were so adamant in fighting for it. But unfortunately, because of their not being committed to God, they lost it. So, in retrospective, it's interesting how God will still with all that going on, God still puts Jerusalem or Judea in the center of it all. And from the center of it all, like I said before, going back to this, the gospel will be spread throughout the whole empire. And that was God's goal. If you remember back in the last lesson, it was key that Christ came during this particular time. And so, anyway, just want to make sure you guys understood that. And so today, you just have these maps. What you can do is you can label these maps on your own or print these off. That is fine. And so this will kind of give you an idea of what I'm looking for. You won't be quizzed over this necessarily or on the test, but it just kind of gives you an idea of the importance of Judea being the center of the Roman Empire. All right, your homework tonight is basically going over this. Basically going over the unit and discussing the importance of this area. It's page 14 and 15 in your Hope for God's Kingdom book. Make sure you turn that in. Other than that, you guys have a wonderful day, and I will Talk to you later.